Yeah, peeps, it's Tersse back now, Squat Box once again, and I find it quite amazing that America is only just waking up, like in the last couple of weeks, to the fact that their government has been tapping everybody's phone calls and emails and shit like that. I mean, basically in Britain we've been having that done since Thatcher, since the 70s. Margaret Thatcher installed a programme similar to what you're talking about in America today, and I can't remember the name of it, the GHQ or some fucking thing. It's a huge building somewhere near Salisbury Plains or somewhere close to there anyway, where the sort of secret service, and the sort of spy regime under the government of the United Kingdom have set up a huge gigantic database which basically taps into all phone calls coming in and out of the country, all emails, all internal phone calls, everything. They just record it on a huge big gigantic database, and they run programs on it looking and listening for, also a bit coded to find keywords like bomb, stuff like that, kill, death, target, all that sort of thing, So when any of these words pop up in emails or phone calls, they're flagged to be reviewed by people, and it's been getting done. It was done by phone calls, obviously, in the 70s, and not maybe on emails. But gradually over the past sort of 30-40 years, they've improved the system, and now that they're capturing every email, every phone call, every mobile phone call. It's all been recorded on one huge big giant database and searched for relevant information. Why do you think that we catch so many people in Britain? I mean, if you look at the amount of stuff that's going on, in Britain, you don't think that they captured, and had to go to a judge and get a phone tap, you know what I mean? Every time, they caught somebody in Britain who was trying to make a bomb out of fertiliser or something, you know what I mean? No, I mean, these are all things that they've caught through the capture of emails, telephone calls, etc, etc. Now, personally myself, I'm not a terrorist, but I do say lots of bullshit, on phone calls and text conversations and emails and stuff, and probably hundreds of my calls and emails have been looked at or listened to by people to see whether I'm actually a threat. But when they hear the Scottish voice and realise that I'm a sarcastic old fucker, they go, yeah, okay, we'll flag him as not of interest, but we'll leave his stuff open to be searched at a later date, because who knows, I might become, a target at some time that they won't get rid of. Hardly likely. I'm never going to get involved in politics as a real politician. I'm too fucking smart for that shit, But they've been doing it to you since fucking Reagan, man. You know what I mean? Reagan and Thatcher, man, they fucking knew where it was at, mate. They've been tapping your phone calls since Reagan, And it's only now that you're kicking up a fuss about it. Personally, say, well, I don't give a shit. I mean, people say, no, it's all about personal freedom. Oh, maybe they'll drag up your whole past, at some later date when they want to target you. Well, just don't make yourself a target. Don't be a fucking idiot, You can't defeat power. All you can do is avoid it. Keep your head down, you know what I mean? That's basically it. You can gripe about it, you can make money out of fucking being a comedian and take the piss out of them. They won't target you for that, but if ever you become a threat to anything they've set up, any the machinations or Machiavellian fucking shit they've got going on, in your economy or whatever, with the bankers, if ever you become a threat, mate, just like all the people you've seen, getting targeted by the right and being targeted by the left, and what I mean, if you put your head up above the parapet, man, they're going to take a fucking pot shot at you, man, you know what I mean? So the only people who need to worry are real terrorists and anybody who might be involved in politics who doesn't swing the way that they swing, you know what I mean? If you're trying to be an individual, if you're trying to speak the truth to power, they're going to fucking stamp on you, crush you like a bug, The only way you can actually make yourself safe is to actually have something on them. Because if they catch you digging for something, they'll stop you. But if you've already got something, you can, you know, diversify the information, copy it, spread it across the fucking world, get it published, and then you might be fucking safe. But you won't be safe by finding something and then trying to threaten them with it. So anyway, yeah, you're all being fucking listened to. You're all being fucking, you know, recorded every fucking minute of the day. We've even got CCTV cameras in fucking every major city in Britain, you know. Every single major city, the city centres are covered in CCTV. It hasn't really just violence or, you know, crime as dramatically as what this, you know, the people selling it to the governments and to the councils told them. But it has definitely had an impact on it, you know. But basically the only way to change a society is to change the people that make the society up. Take for instance people in America blowing up, you know, abortion clinics, shooting abortion doctors. Well, if they're not made a primary target, and if these people aren't caught, and then, you know, some effort is made to track back who radicalised the people who did the shooting and the bombing, because that's not what's happened in America. It's always an individual lone fucking nutter, you know what I mean? Whereas they could never have set that up, they could never have done that coordination at a lot of these people. They're too fucking dumb to have done it themselves. Somebody was helping them organise, you know. And the security forces are not concentrating on that. The people who fucking blew up the CIA building, you know, those many years ago, I didn't see them tracking down very many people after that either. It was a lone bomber, maybe one other person might have been, you know, investigated, but you didn't see them catch a whole group of fucking white right-wing fucking nutters, you know what I mean? No, but there was probably, you know, a gang of them behind it, you know. I just find it hard to believe that you think that, you know, you're losing your freedoms. You can have all the freedom you want, so long as you're not a terrorist, you're not a bank robber, and you're not going around, you know, kidnapping kids or women and tying them up in your basement, you know. If you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to hide. Live your life, enjoy it, you know. Let them capture whatever they fucking want. It's not a threat to you, unless you're a threat to them, or unless you're doing something nefarious, which you would like to keep doing, you know. I don't have any qualms about it, you know. I'm an open book, you know what I mean. Fuck it. They probably know more about me than I know about myself, you know. Considering that a lot of the time I'm so drunk, or when I was younger I was so stoned I couldn't remember what I did most of the time, so yeah, you know, yeah, they probably do know more about me than I know about myself, and they probably know more about you than you know about yourself, or your neighbour, or your loved one, or your family, you know. So just face it, you know, it is the way the world's going, and if it turns out to be a terrible world, in some people's eyes it is already, you know, in my eyes, the world is what it is. It doesn't really get any more terrible unless we descend into the likes of Pol Pot or Hitler. And I can't see a nation like America or Britain going that way. Yes, they will probably, you know, infringe upon some of your idiotic, stupid freedoms you feel that you need the you know, passport to have. But let's face it, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we feel really angry about when we find out the government's, you know, stuck its finger in it, they're not really that important. You know what I mean? It's not like it's going to destroy your life if they fucking copy your phone records or your emails, you know what I mean? Just in case you might be a terrorist at some time and they have to go back and look at it. Because let's face it, if it was your neighbour, the first thing you'd be saying to the news people when you see the talking heads on TV is, why can't you find out about this guy? You're capturing all his information, why can't you find out? But you don't want them to catch your information. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't give a shit. They can catch everybody's information. That way they've got a good chance of catching all the fucking crappy fuckers who are going out murdering and killing and fucking bombing places. I want them to catch all those fuckers, you know what I mean? That's why I agree with legalising things like dope. And even legalising, you know, heroin and cocaine and allowing people to register as a user and buy it from a chemist. Then at least we know they're getting stuff which is not adulterated. It can be regulated and taxed. Therefore you're getting at least some money back in order to pay for the ailments they're going to have, you know, later in their very short life, most of them. So yeah, I would legislate for all drugs to be legalised and certificated and, you know, regulated and purchased, so long as you're of a certain age, 21 say in America, you know, 18 in Britain. Go and register with your doctor as an addict, buy it out the chemist. You're buying it for such a cheap amount that you don't need to go and rob people and steal shit off them and murder cunts for fucking money in order to pay for it. That's the real depressing thing in our society. The war on drugs actually causes crime because it pushes the price of drugs up for the addicts, and then they can't afford them, and then they go and rob you and your neighbour, you know what I mean? If they could buy it for like £1.50 a fucking hit rather than fucking $20, there would be no problem. They could fucking tap enough money outside a fucking, you know, a train station, sitting there with a sign saying, you know, drug addict and, you know, don't want you to commit crime, please give me some fucking money. Give him 50 cents as you pass by, you know what I mean? Within a couple of hours he's got enough for his fucking 2 or 3 days of fucking getting stoned, you know what I mean? And he's not going to be robbing your house, breaking into your car for your fucking stereo, or fucking, you know, beating up your fucking teenage kid to take his iPhone off him, you know what I mean? He'll have plenty of money to get stoned, and then that's what he wants, and goes and lies in a corner fucked up. That's all they want, you know what I mean? So just legalise it, make it cheap in the chemist for them, crime solved, you know what I mean? Well, a lot of crime solved, you know. But, you know, yeah, I think, yeah, let them tap everything, let them film everything. I don't give a fucking shit. I'm not roaming the streets fucking kidnapping fucking kids or women or beating men to death because they've got a fucking pair of shoes I want. I'm not doing that shit. I don't give a fuck, you know what I mean? If you're doing that shit, then you deserve to get fucking caught, and there should be cameras there watching you, you know what I mean? I don't have any fear of the Big Brother society. We've been living in it for fucking 40 years or more, you know what I mean? You just didn't know until now. Maybe I was just smarter and understood it when I was fucking a teenager, that this was the world I was grown up in. And I understood that, well, fuck it, if that's the world I'm growing up in, I might as well just grow up in that world and understand what it is, understand the behaviour that I can get away with and the behaviour I can't, do you know what I mean? And I didn't get away with a lot of it. I mean, when I was using drugs, I ended up getting caught, I went to jail, I got out, served my time, and then I was a bit smart about where I used it, what I said and who I was with, you know what I mean? And that's what you've got to be, man. Don't go talking to a Bin Laden, because, you know, chances are you're going to find yourself getting blown the fuck up, man, from a fucking drone, you know what I mean? So, you know, be more fucking astute than the people you mix with, you know, the company you keep, and watch out where you do your drugs. When you get drunk, don't carry a gun. You know, the temptation is always to shoot somebody in the face if they piss you off. That sort of thing, you know. Live your life like you want to live your life, you know, but don't do anything adverse that would affect your life badly, knowing that people are watching, filming you and recording everything you fucking say, you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying, you know. Life is what it is. If you're not willing to live in that world, I suggest you pack up and move to a fucking desert island and put up with, you know, worms crawling up your fucking leg and, you know, inside your leg and eating your eyeball out for the inside and, you know what I mean, coughing your fucking guts up or getting bitten by a snake and dying, you know what I mean? You know, go and live in the jungle somewhere if you don't want to get filmed, you know what I mean? Although even there they've probably got drones flying over and, you know, thermal fucking optics watching you, so, you know, there's nowhere that well you can go where you can get away from it properly, you know what I mean? So, you know, just live your life, man. Just accept it, put up with it, you know what I mean? You're never going to win. You're never going to get them to stop it. All they'll do is they'll just make it even more covert than it is now, you know what I mean? They'll just stop telling the Senate about it. And then nobody will ever find out that they're actually... I'd rather know they're filming me, and then at least we can put some checks and balances on how they use the information they're recording. Yes, record it, but there's ways and means of how you can use the information. That's the best way to deal with it, you know what I mean? Just like we should deal with the corporations. Yeah, you can be a fucktard corporation that wants to rob every cent off of the fucking, you know, populace, but there's regulations on what you can do. There's regulations on what fucking poisons you can pour into the water and pour into the air when you're making the shit you're selling us for a fucking huge price, you know what I mean? A huge profit, fucker, you know? And there's regulations how much you can pay, how minimum wage you can pay a person, you know what I mean, so that they can pay their taxes and afford to live in the house and fucking pay their kids to go to school and feed them, you know. That's the regulations I want to put in place. Yeah, corporations can be fucktards, so long as they pay for being fucktards. At the moment, They're making $1 billion fucking a quarter. I mean, in profit. They're paying no taxes. You know what I mean? They're not paying the fucking way, you know, and then they're fucking bawling and shouting at you when you get a couple of fucking food stamps, you know what I mean? Rather than paying your wage where you don't need the fucking food stamps. I'm just looking to how we should be fucking looking at the world. Stop bitching about shit you can't do anything about, and bitch about the shit we can do. We can regulate these fuckers. We can change the fucking world so we can, at least we get enough money to fucking live the way we want. But you can't stop them from doing the shit they're doing. All you can do is have some oversight and regulations to, you know, control how they use the information. Swans, you fucking motherfuckers.